Morning, dear friends. Well, at least it should be morning there. Here it's already afternoon. The subject we'll discuss today is one we have discussed many times and even a few times over the last week or two. But this video is the most important one you will need to watch. The subject, of course, concerns Harry's wife's pregnancies. I'm going to try and explain what happened to me and how I came to have certain information, and I'm going to try and explain it as simply and as chronologically as possible. But I need you to bear with me, and if you can, stay until the end of the video. In the beginning of March, I received an email from someone who said that he or she had sensitive information. As I have trust issues, I tried to get him or her to email the information to me. I shall never reveal my sources and will protect them with my life if it comes to that, but I do keep a record of where and what I got from him to protect myself. Anyway, this person refused and insisted we speak telephonically. I phoned the person on the 7th of March. What I expected to be a 10 to 20 minute discussion lasted more than an hour. At the end of the discussion, I was convinced that at least 98% of what I was told was truthful, and that the 2% which may be in doubt would be due to this person's interpretation and opinion, and not because it was a lie. I was faced with another problem though. There was no way I could tell it like I got it, as I also needed to protect the person's identity. And unfortunately, some of the information made this person one of only a few people who could have the information. So what I did was to break up the bulk of the information and slip it into videos in smaller tidbits. However, because of this, I noticed that these tidbits did not get the attention I hoped it would. And now I'm faced with a dilemma of even bigger proportions. You see, because of the information I received, and because of things Harry's wife said in the interview with Oprah, I knew where Harry's wife was heading, and I knew what she was building up to, or is still building up to. Over the last week, both myself and Lady C had issued thinly disguised warnings, namely that the royal family must stop considering Harry and his wife's feelings and fight fire with fire by revealing the truth. But it is obvious that nobody in the royal family or their aides and advisors are actually listening to our channels, or they are not taking our warnings seriously, or there is a traitor or two among the aides and advisors who are giving the wrong advice to them. Whatever the case may be, let us get down to the nitty-gritty. By now, even the sugars must realize that something was off with the first pregnancy. Most of us who are on the side of the royal family think or believe that a surrogate was used. Then there are a few others with other ideas. But no matter what you think or believe, at the very least, we all agree that something was wrong. And now, a few photographs and Oprah interview later, we also know that something is wrong with the current pregnancy. So before we even get to the crux of the matter, let me quickly take you through a few pics. The chicken coop picture. In a real pregnancy, the bump does not go higher than the rib cage. Then, although the chicken coop footage was taken within a day of the interview, there is a significant difference in size between the two bumps. And now we saw the pap shot of Harry's wife and child, on Prince Louis's birthday. I received a few emails encouraging me to have the photograph analyzed, like I have done with others. But, 1, I sincerely do not have the time, and 2, there is no need to, because the problem with the photograph is staring us in the face. The size of the bump is that of a woman carrying twins, or maybe even triplets, at 8 or 9 months. And if you continue the line of the bump, you will also see that it continues past the rib cage. Then a few medical professionals weighed in, and it is their professional opinion that the whole picture is unrealistic, mainly because a bump of that size, particularly if it is a single baby, would mean that the mother has more than the usual amount of amniotic fluid and may also be retaining water, and therefore one would expect the mother's legs, feet, ankles, arms, hands, and face to be swollen, which is not the case here with Harry's wife. Then there is obviously the inappropriate shoes and the carrying of the baby, but we have to move on. So, getting back to my March 7th phone call, during the call, one of the things I was told was that one of Oprah's crew noticed something regarding the bump and that Oprah was made aware of it. I was told that from there on, crew had to sign NDAs before filming could continue. I know I mentioned this in one of my videos, but like I said, because I threw the tidbit in among other matters, I saw that it did not get much attention. But never mind. A few days, or more or less a week later, I received an email from someone else who shared a similar scenario with me, and similar stories were popping up on Twitter. And then there was the interview itself. I told you that Oprah herself was surprised by the fact that Meghan went as far as she did on the royal family and the racism issue, but no one would believe me. But now, Oprah herself said that she was thinking, do you really want to go there? At the time. And I guess we were all surprised in a way and flabbergasted. It took me a few days to think it over, and then it hit me. She was going to use the exact same story and scenario when the truth about Archie's birth breaks. I just could not work out exactly how she was going to do it until 1 a.m. this morning. I was on my way to bed when a friend sent me this screenshot, and I'll read it to you. Oprah was advised by her producers regarding the bump, but she didn't want to question it, and apparently they had a private talk about this, and Oprah wanted to include the surrogate situation in the interview. However, Harry's wife had simply told Oprah she wasn't comfortable talking about this. She allegedly told Oprah, "Let's just leave it at that." On another note, Tyler Perry's aunt has claimed to a friend, MS, that Harry's wife will probably blame the surrogate situation on the royals. She allegedly said about MM, "This one is troubled. Stay away from this one." She told people that basically the royal family didn't want black in their history books, etc. So they forced MM to have a surrogate. In her own words, "If this comes out, be sure that MM will blame the royals and lie about it." And allegedly, the surrogate mother is a very, very close friend of Harry and is also married and has her own children. The post in the screenshot did not come from my source. I know that because I know that my source could not have made the post when it was made. However, the information contained in the post is exactly the same as what I got during my telephonic discussion. I can also tell you that there is no significant link between the person I spoke to and the person who made the post, as my source does not work or live in the same place anymore. Thus, having heard and read similar information from at least 3 people from different backgrounds, different jobs, different lifestyles, I now no longer doubt the authenticity of the information. Because I now believe the information to be factual, I also believe that it is exactly what Harry's wife is threatening the royal family with. I believe that she is threatening to tell the world that the royal family forced her to use a surrogate, as they did not want a child with black blood in the family, and because they were afraid that her child would come out too dark. And that, my friends, is also exactly what she was leading up to with her Oprah interview. She was paving the way for the possible next reveal. Currently, I think the scenario is that she is blackmailing the royal family into silence with this threat. And although you and I know that it is not true, she, like us and like the royal family, know that there will be people like her fans, like her sugars, and like other groups who will believe her and who will make an issue about it, and who will most likely protest, yell, and break things because of her story. There remains only one thing for the royal family to do. One of their future kings, William or Charles, needs to tell the truth before this woman tells her version of it. If she gets in with her version of the story first, it will be much harder for the royal family to counteract it, and immense damage will be done to their image, their reputations, and to the institution itself. The royal family also needs to consider the other people involved: doctors, nurses, the Archbishop of Canterbury, the surrogate. I now have a very good idea as to who the surrogate was, and the fact of the matter is that it is very unfair to that person should that leak out. The upheaval and drama of such a reveal would hurt or even destroy her life. So the royal family needs to protect these people by putting an end to the speculation, by telling the truth. That is all we want. We do not need the intimate details. Once that has been dealt with, the Montecito couple's titles and the man and his offspring need to be removed from the line of succession, and all ties severed until the destructive influence of the wife and her cronies are removed via divorce or legal action. There is still a lot to be said, but I want you to think and mull over this information first, and then later in the week we can continue with the discussion. I just quickly want to thank all of you for your continued support. I'm once again slightly behind on my email and will also be out of town for 2 days this week, but I promise that I'll get to it all as soon as I can. Thus, please continue posting comments and sending email. Okay, folks, until I see you on the next video, please take care of yourselves, and until then, bye.